Hello, hello, hello. It is time for our live. It is time for us to get some mental toughness into our life. And, you know, um, I'm excited. So if you're coming on and you are ready to really, I'm going to give you the secret sauce to when people say, Pastor Sarah, I've been seeing you and you're so tough, you're so strong. How do you do it? How do you bounce back? How do you not let depression and anxiety come and overtake you? And believe me, people, believe me, I have had tons of opportunity for anxiety, frustration, bitterness, anger, resentment, depression, frustration, just lull, blah, all of those things to come and overtake my life, right? This is real talk. This is real talk, right? So I've always kind of just tried to be as honest and as transparent as I can, right? And people say to me all the time, you're so strong, I admire you, so strong. How do you just not let this stuff break you? How do you just keep coming back? And I want to tell you how I actually do that, right? So if you're ready, I'm ready. But before we do that, I just want to kind of know who is on here tonight. Just give me a name real quick and where you're from so I can just say hi. And then we're going to go into it. I have some, like I said, real practical things that you can do, right? This is not just a high pie in the sky. Woo, just sprinkle some pixie dust and wave a wand and it just magically happens. No, how do you deal in real life when everything is coming against you? Doctor's reports. So let me know where you're from and what's your name. Hey, Ingrid. You're getting doctor's reports or deaths in your family or sickness after sickness or loss of job or loss of relationship or man, you were hoping for that promotion and whoops, psych. You put your money into an investment and lost. You thought something was going to go one way and it went somewhere else. Hey, Nakiba, Mansfield, Texas. Hey, is it Karen? Karen. Hey, Jamaica. Oh my gosh. Diane, how you doing? I can't wait to spend some time with you. So, all right. So this is some real talk, right? Because a lot of times I want you to know that, is this me or something on my finger? Oh, that whenever you feel like you're making some kind of progress and boy, you get inspired, you get motivated, something comes to try and snatch that away from you, right? And it wants to diffuse you. And I want you to remember that things come to fight for your confidence. It comes to your confidence, right? Because why is confidence so important? Confidence is so important because we can't go boldly before God if we're intimidated. We can't go boldly and ask him for anything if we really have this belief that, you know what, not going to come through. Let me give you an example. And now that I've seen everybody on here, we are going to go into it after this example. So when I was a kid, one of the things that my parents, knowingly or unknowingly, but these are facts, they would forget me at school. So like I am 7 or 8, and I would just be sitting there until it's dark, like 8 o'clock at night. And nobody's coming for me. Nobody's coming for me, right? And so I would just feel forgotten or lost or abandoned because now it's dark and I'm like a child in the dark. So I feel like people won't kidnap me or attack me. So I'm just sitting there hoping somebody remembers that the child is not here. Okay, how does that translate? If I was abandoned, whether intentionally or unintentionally, by people who were supposed to protect me, and now you ask me to trust this God who is supposed to protect me, I don't have no example of protection. So I can go before the throne of grace and ask him for things. But in my mind, I'm like, he gonna forget. He gonna remember Nakiba's prayers before mine. He gonna take care of Ingrid's stuff. Oh, he just gonna be on Diane's feed. But he not remembering me. And when he finally gets to me, I've already figured it out. So why do I need him again? So you see, sometimes that we get into these things because really we do have this latent belief that it's different. So I'm talking to you tonight. Hey, Camille, I'm talking to you tonight about mental toughness. You understand? You have to have mental toughness. And kids, you and I have to teach our kids mental toughness, because that's one of the things is kids and adults are not the inability to bounce back when things don't go your way. Bounce back when you get a bad report. Bounce back when your body's hurting. Finding excuses, finding reasons why it can't be done, stopping your goals and stopping your progress because you just can't. And we have to have mental toughness, because if not, then nothing worthwhile is going to get done, because everything worthwhile comes with a challenge. So we were talking about my mom yesterday. So yesterday was the 28th of February, and it was the day that my mom had died in 1992, right? And as you know, my testimony, she was stabbed to death, right? With multiple stab wounds. So my dad and my brother and my younger sister and I, we were on a phone call together, and I asked my dad to give us good memories of my mom, give us things that we wouldn't have known, right? And, oh, it's the wrong finger. So he was telling us some stories, right? And then we went around and started telling stories. So my sister, who is younger, had like spotty memory, right? Because she's the youngest one. But what was happening to her had also happened to me. So one of the things my mom used to do, and she said, was she appreciated that she would allow us to find our limits, and it would make her decision. For example, if you were eating oysters, and oysters is a thing in Jamaica, you just get them right off the ocean, you put some pepper sauce on there, and yum, 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 yum. They're not the big giant things that they have here, right? You just eat them. And so we really liked oysters. And so what she would do is we would eat them, and she'd say, stop. And of course, we don't want to stop. And so we say, no, we want some more. And what she would do is make you eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And you know what would happen? You get sick. The next day you get sick or something. But you know what you learn? Don't do that again. And so there's a way that you learn, okay, next time you make a better decision. Next time, that's it. You just compartmentalize it, move on, can't do nothing about it, make a better decision. But now you start thinking things through. So when you're talking about mental toughness, I am talking about, it involves developing, you're writing this down? Who writing? Okay. Mental toughness involves developing daily habits and mental muscle. It also involves giving up detrimental habits that decrease mental muscle. All right. So what I mean, so when I go to the gym, if I want to gain muscle, I cannot use less weight. I have to use a higher pound weight to create resistance. So resilience is built through resistance. You want to be resilient in a situation, you have to learn to resist. And things that are harder to resist create more discipline and more strength within your mental discipline and toughness, modus operatum, the way that you're going to do things. All right. So number one, you have to develop some mental muscle. Okay. Mental muscle. What are some things that you can do? All right. So here we go. On your marks, get set, and go. Sorry, my little phone is going off. People trying to sign up in my class all day. It's been going great. All right. Bounce back ability, the bounce back ability, right? When something hits you, you're getting the bad news, you're getting irritated, you're getting all of these things. It's a block in your road. It's a spoke in your wheel. Number one that you have to do is reframe opposition into opportunity. Instead of going, this is an opposition, this is something that is coming to attack me, how can I reframe that into an opportunity? How can I see the opportunity in this? All right. So you have to say, one, where's the opportunity versus opposition? People who have very weak mental ability always see problems. They're very negative, and they're always looking, and they're very critical. They cannot find the good, and they cannot find the opportunity. Why? Why? Because mental toughness requires confidence. Mental toughness requires that you believe in you. You believe that God has seen the ability in you to overcome. You see, you and I will get weak whenever we think that we cannot handle it. But I'm telling you, when you are in training, whether it's sports, whether it's in the gym, whatever it is, that coach sees you have the ability. Your muscles are shaking and it seems like it's too much, but that coach looks and says, no, come on, you can push through that. You now have to do that for yourself, because everybody is not going to be cheering for you. Good job. Proud of you. You go, girl. Whoop, whoop. No. Sometimes you have to do that on your own. Sometimes you've got to lift the weight on your own. Sometimes you have got to say, where is the opportunity in this? And one of the things that I always tell the people in my class is you must say this confession every single day. Show me how much better it can get. When opposition comes to you, the first thing you're going to go is, Lord, show me how much better it can get. Show me how much better it can get. In this bad health report, show me how much better it can get. In this terrible situation, show me how much better it can get. In this financial crisis, show me how much better it can get. In this position I'm in, show me how much better it can get. It has to be able to get better. Why? Because you are created in the likeness and image of God, and you have creative power inside of you. And whatever is inside of you is able to turn the situation around. So you see, you're not defeated, and you're not without tools, and you're not without power, and you're not without intelligence, and you're not without wit, but you are looking at opposition versus opportunity. And when you look at opportunity, you say, something on the inside of me cannot quit. Something on the inside of me must move forward, because I will not be denied what I'm due. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you can have a cry day, but you can't have a cry life. So number one, you're going to develop some daily habits, some muscle. What are some of the daily habits that you can develop? Number one, you can develop some gratitude. Find the good. Is it ignoring the bad? No. But if you consume yourself with the bad, it's like this. When you go to sleep and you don't wake up and you keep sleeping, what happens? You want more sleep. Right? Bible says a little sleep, a little slumber, and poverty comes upon you. Because the more you feel bad is the more you feel bad. Well, the more you feel bad and the more you feel bad, how is that making any progress? It's not. No, we have to be real and say, yeah, there's times that I am going to feel bad. But we have to say that has to be compartmentalized. Number one, you have to find gratitude. You start out with, Lord, show me how much better it can get. So you're expecting, you're looking for the good, you're looking for better, you're finding more, you're looking for abundance. You see, you can't have an abundance with an abundant life with like a less than abundant mindset. You have to have abundance to get abundance, right? And it starts right here. We're talking about mental toughness, right? So number one, you're going to find some gratitude. Gratitude. Find something to be thankful for. Number two, right? So here's some daily things that you can do. Find gratitude. I say the confession I just told you. Number three is you're going to reframe opposition into opportunity, understanding that there is no situation that comes your way that you do not have the ability to actually see through it and see it through. Got that? All right, number three. So number one, when you bounce back ability, I gave you some stuff. Number two, thus, you have to have anxiety control. If you're going to have mental toughness, you have to control your anxiety. You have to control your anxiety. We all have anxiety. Let me see. So I have one of my clients, and this is her brain map. And in my private coaching, we do the brain maps because I need to know where the trauma and anxiety is in her brain. Well, honey, this brain is full of trauma. There's only 4 spaces in her brain that don't have no trauma and no anxiety. So we talking on high alert. Spoke to her today, and from last week to this week, she's much calmer, much more productive, because we got some control over the anxiety. How are you going to control the anxiety, Pastor Sarah? How do I control the anxiety when I feel it all up in my chest? When I just feeling like I'm having a panic attack? I understand. I've had some panic attacks. So what are you going to do? Number one, when we're dealing with anxiety, all right? Come, I'm working with you. This is also something I teach in my class. Anxiety is energy without a plan. When you have energy that has no space, no container, it's just out of control. If all of this tool is just off the spool, it has no aim. But when it has a place, when it has a function, then you'll find that your anxiety will go down. because you have a plan. But we find that there's anxiety when there's fear of the future. We don't know what's happening next. It's all new. Things are changing. Where am I going to be? When we start asking those questions, we don't have answers for them. Then anxiety comes up into our heart. Do you understand? But if you ask, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do in the future. But what if you had a plan? What if you had a 6-month plan? What if you had a 30-day plan? What if you had a 90-day plan? What if you just had a plan? You would not have as much anxiety. Now, if your plan don't work or your plan has to change, it still gives you some kind of structure to hold this energy that is just there. This just wandering. So anxiety is energy without a plan. It doesn't have a place to land. It doesn't have a container to contain it. So it runs wild, and with you running wild with it like this. So when you want to control your anxiety, one, you're going to find a plan. Number two, when you're controlling your anxiety, you're going to understand that your anxiety is not your enemy. I know this goes against everything. But again, this is my class. Okay. Anxiety, use it as a siren. Use it as, like a fire alarm. Like, hey, something is wrong. It's bringing my attention to something. So instead of seeing it as, oh my gosh, I can't handle it. Oh, wow, my body and my emotions and my mind is telling me something needs to be addressed. Woo, I'm feeling that. So what needs to be addressed? What needs to be dealt with? What am I missing? Because anxiety is just reacting to something that you feel you have no control over. So when we don't have control, we feel like we're in limbo. We can't land our feet. We don't feel stable and we don't feel secure. When we don't feel secure in a situation, we get anxious. When we don't think we have the tools to handle something, we get anxious. But if we saw the anxiety as just a siren, as, wow, there it goes at that police car, something is happening. What's happening? Do I need to pay attention to that, or is it not really my business? Do I need to pay attention to this because it's impacting me? Okay, what are we going to do with it? So use it as a tool, as a signal versus as something to cause you to suffer. Number three, when you're dealing with anxiety, right, you have to ask yourself, what is the story that anxiety is telling me? It's always telling you a story. And is that story true? Is it really true? Or is it wanting you to think it's true? So anxiety is saying, oh, you're going to die old and alone. Oh, you're never going to get pregnant. Oh, your kids, they are never coming back to the Lord. Oh, you see that mole that's on your leg? Oh, it's going to move into such a big thing that they're going to cut off your legs. Oh, it's telling you a story that hasn't existed yet. So worry and anxiety creates a picture and a future that you don't want, right? But faith creates a picture I do have. Because God has said, I do have a plan for you. It is to prosper you. I have a good plan. So worry and anxiety says, this plan is what I don't want. I don't want this. I don't want this. And so we live from this place of what I don't want versus what I do want. So you have to see, okay, worry and anxiety is creating a story, creating a narrative, and it has a pen in its hand. What is it writing? And do I like those chapters? No. Well, who owns the pen? The Bible says that we have the pen of a ready writer. We get to stop and say, okay, period, exclamation. Anything after this, we're writing it a different story. Are you tracking with me? I hope so. All right. Number three, how are we bounce back? How are you resilient? How are you developing mental toughness? I've given you a lot of stuff so far. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're going to tag and share because we need this. All right. Number three, you ready? Number three is you need to set some goals. You have to have an aim because you need to know where you're going. Well, I don't even know what I want to do. It's okay. But you certainly know what you don't want to do. So start there. What don't you want to do? You don't want to be broke. So you better find a plan on being not broke. All right? You don't want to be unwell. Well, find a way to supplement your health, strengthen your health. All right? So maybe you don't know what you want, but maybe you can start with what I don't want. All right? And number four, right? We have to have positive thoughts or faith. Now, here's the thing. You are going to have positive thoughts and negative thoughts, right? Thoughts that build and thoughts that weaken. Thoughts that make me feel good, thoughts that make me feel bad. Thoughts that inspire me and thoughts that make me think I suck at everything. Thoughts that make me just feel so powerful and thoughts that go, you old hypocrite, you're an idiot. Right? Thoughts that make me feel brilliant and thoughts that make me feel stupid. Okay, you're going to have those all the time. But what you have is you're going to have a third person. You're going to have the third person that is going to bully and marshal these thoughts. So the thoughts that are not making your dopamine levels go up high and you're creating more stress in your cortisone, those are the thoughts we don't want. So we don't like them. So you have to see, you need to picture and visualize the thoughts that are not positive as the worst. So if you had a teacher at school, because I had a couple of them that kicked me out of class. And there's some teachers that you just was like, oh, I cannot stand this teacher. Oh, I cannot. Or you had an ex that you may have a boyfriend that was from way back in the way. You were like, oh, or whatever. You have to think of them like somebody you need to break up with or something you need to get away from. Like this is Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. So when you have this negative thought that's coming your way, you have to go, oh no, this thought trying to put me in this thought is trying to put me in the ICU. Oh no, I do not have enough insurance for that. I don't have enough tolerance for that. Oh, listen, Mayday, I'm out of here. So you have to think positive thoughts or have faith. Now, when you have negative thoughts, I tell you what to do with those negative thoughts. You are going to marshal them and you're going to put them where they belong. So you can feel them, you can talk about them, you can even, listen, let's talk about the Bible for a second here. And one of my favorite stories, I mean, I feel like I could be in this story for the next 10 years, literally, and get something new every time. I just really love Exodus 4. And I just love how, Moses and God was having this chat and, they're up on a mountain. And I love the whole mental toughness lesson that God has to deal with Moses on. Because Moses was like so many of us, right? So Moses had made mistakes, right? Moses made errors. Moses was an immigrant, right? Raised by different people, adopted. Moses can so identify with so many of us, right? And so Moses now is on the backside of the desert and he's gotten used to his condition of hiding, of being away. He learned something new, which is another thing up in here. But Moses is doing all this. And so Moses now meets God because God is like, you're going to need to do a little bit more though. It's time for you to challenge up. It's time for you to pony up to it, right? And so Moses begins to have this conversation with God, right? And I love how it begins, right? So it begins out with the stick, right? And the stick drops and then God, the stick turns into a snake, right? And then Moses jumps back and he's scared, right? So one, we see that Moses was scared. Perfect. Because I'd be scared too. I love it. All right. And then God was like, all right, I know you're scared, but I'm going to need you to hold what you're afraid of. I have a picture here that I saw today of heaven as a kid holding up the snake. And I'm having trauma just looking at it. It's right in front of me. But here it is. He does that, right? But then after he gets over that, he has this conversation. He says to him, listen, I'm going to need you to do some stuff here. I'm going to need you to go to Pharaoh. He's like, no, Pharaoh. And Moses is like, I can't really do that right now. One, I don't want to do it. I just simply don't want to do it. And God is beginning to develop his mental toughness by ridding him of his excuses and giving him a different perspective. He says, listen, I don't want to go. I kill the people. And he goes, I know what you're thinking. Your anxiety is acting up, Moses, because you think that the people are there and they've died. They're not there anymore. What you think can hurt you actually can't hurt you. So you're creating and holding on to the past, and you're holding on to a threat that you think exists, and it doesn't. Because guess what, Moses? You're bigger than that. You've grown past that. You've matured. There's things that have changed you and challenged you in your life, and you don't know you're actually more ready for this than not. So I'm here to tell you that's not going to fly. We're not going to use that one. So Moses has to in his brain. So now he has to go into his mind, and his mind is coming up with all these things. Don't do it, Moses. Don't do it. Oh, you're going to go back there. Oh, Moses, you're going to die. Moses, what you going to do to Pharaoh? Supposing they, so he says, supposing they don't believe me. Supposing they don't believe me, God. And God was like, it's not about you today, though. It's about me. It's I am that I am, and you won't tell them this. Oh, all right. So now God is doing. What is God doing? God is changing Moses' speech. For every excuse that Moses comes up with, God gives him different wording. God replaces that with a different instruction. God does not just bully Moses and says, "Where's your faith, Moses?" Because you have to understand, Moses was no man of faith at that point. Moses was in the desert. And God is training him right there in the worst part of his life, in the desert, out there with nothing, where you have nothing, and saying, "But there's so much more for you." And he's going, "I don't know." He goes, "You've been through the hard stuff. It's time for you to walk through the sea. It's time for you to plunder the Egyptians. It's time for you to get blessed up. Come now, Moses. Don't stay stuck in the mentality of the desert. I'm giving you a plan. I'm giving you words." And you know what, Moses? You're still anxious. You're still nervous. You don't want to do it by yourself. It's all right. I'll send Aaron with you. I can work with you. Because, see, and that's what I want you to see. For every anxious position and thought, God has support waiting for you. But he needs you to work with him. And the way that we work with God is to do the process. And his process was, I'm going to give you the words to say. I'm going to send you some help. Moses, the stuff that you're worried about, I done taken care of that. Moses, listen, this thing that you're afraid of, you got this. So when you're talking about developing mental toughness, there has to be an internal belief on the inside of you that I must recover. It may be an ugly finish, but I am going to finish. I may be crying all the way. I may be, I may be bleeding and dying on the Jericho road, but I am going to end where I need to end. And you have to have that sense of purpose and control over your emotions. So you recognize your emotions. God didn't beat him up for his emotions. He was very emotive in that conversation, but he talked it out with God. And God changed his oppositions into opportunities. And God showed him, hey, you can do this. So I'm saying to you tonight, when you're developing mental toughness, you have to really believe that this too will pass. You have to really believe that God will not abandon you. He will not forsake you, and he will not leave you. You have to really believe that everything that you have on the inside is already designed for you to win, that you will recover this and you will get through this. And yes, it hurts. And yes, it's frustrating. And yes, you feel lost, but you're not by yourself. And something on the inside of you has got to hold on to the fact that you are not an orphan. You are a child of God. You belong somewhere and you belong to someone. You are not by yourself. And so when I am weak, I can go and say, I am weak. And what did the Bible says? Let the weak say, I am strong. Rephrase it. I feel weak, but I am strong. I feel frustrated, but I am strong. Right? I feel I cannot make it, but I know he will make a way where there is no way. I feel that the doctor's report is going to be negative, but I'm going to trust in Jehovah Rapha, the God that heals me. I have got to believe on the inside that this is going to get better, and you've got to be committed to see it through. We quit too early. So mental toughness says, listen, I will not quit until it works in my favor. I am not going to go through all of this for it not to work in my favor. So I am going to stick this out until it works in my favor. And lastly, you need to welcome change and challenges. It's part of life. Nobody likes change, but we have to all change. And things are changing. Our cells are changing every single day. So we live in a consistent state of change. And yet we don't like it. So you have to accept that change is a thing and challenge is in a thing. All right. But remember, every challenge develops your muscle. And last is confidence. How do you build your confidence? Okay. When you're in dealing with mental toughness, you want to stretch your brain. Mental toughness is mental, right? So you want to challenge your brain. So you need to acquire new skills. You need to find something new to do. Find another skill. Why? Because you're rusty. You're rusty and you're used to and you're comfortable and you can do things that are not pushing you. Try a new skill. Go take a class on painting. Go paint by number. Do something. Get a Lego box that is totally out of your league, like 14 plus, and go build the Legos. Do something to challenge your brain in a different way, because it develops different parts of your brain that when you need it in crisis, that brain is already firing up because you have pushed it beyond its norm. Learn a new skill, learn a new language, go take a class, get a different job, write a new book, something. But there is something in you that you can do. So I want to challenge you to, when you're rebuilding, number one, we have real emotions. And our first series talked about how can we leverage those emotional moments to our benefit. Number two, we have financial fallouts whenever we're rebuilding. And what does it take? Where are some practical things that we can do to rebuild our finances whenever we get hit? And number three, we have to stay the course. But in order to stay the course, we have to know that the course is finishable. We have to know that the course is not against us. We have to know that the course could not be made if we were not able to handle it. That the course is not against us. The force is with you. The course is with you. The course is with you. You have to know that whatever is in front of you, you're already designed to handle it. And yes, you will have those moments. And yes, you will sit in those times of darkness. And yes, you will have those periods where you just don't feel you have it today. And yet in that, I'm asking you, with your lips quivering and with your hands shaking and with your eyes full and puffed up with tears and bloodshot, that you just mumble the words, Lord, show me how much better I can get in this. Show me how much better I can get. Because it will train your brain to say, better. It has to get better than this. Make sense? So hopefully you learned something tonight. What is, you can give me some feedback. Is there something that was important or meant something to you tonight? Give me your feedback. I want to let you know that my upcoming class is happening next week, Tuesday. And you want to get in on it now, because I'm actually going to raise the prices when I do it, because I realize I really give a lot in this class. And I was talking to a lot of people and realized I am helping people start full businesses, file LLCs, build credit, business credit, all this kind of stuff. And my class is relatively cheap for that. And I'm not going to have another one for several months because I'm taking a 2-month break. So if you want to get mentored by me, this is going to be the class, unless you are going to have to wait a whole other 3 months before I come up on the scene, because I am redefining and redesigning all sorts of things. So at the price that I have it now, you really want to just jump on that. As it's happening March 7th, next Tuesday. And then I will not be seeing you all until the summer. So I suggest that you lick the next quarter by doing that. And you can text me at 469-278-4828. That's the number, 469-278-4828. And text me and say, hey, let's talk. And I'll schedule a call with you. Don't just try to call me, because I'm always on a lot of different calls, so I won't answer. But if you text me, I can respond back to you, right? So you want to do that. I only have about 3 spots left, because I like to keep my class small, because I like to be in everybody's business, as you know. So that's the pastor side of me. I don't want to just leave you hanging. So I'm going to be all up in there. And I am raising it, because like I said, I met somebody today and I was like floored. And I was like, my people get this just on a phone call. They're getting this like normal, because in my mind, I'm trying to give you everything I've got. So I am going to be changing that. And so I suggest that if you want to do that, you go ahead and jump in on it right now. Tell me, thank you so much that the entire thing was a blessing. Is there something, you have a question, or do you have a comment about tonight's class? And if you got the email, if you're not on my email list, I need you to put your email, because I sent out the email with all the links for all the classes, to the last 2 classes plus this class. So if you missed yesterday's class or the class before, I did send out an email to my email list with all the classes available. So if I don't have that, email me to the 469-278-4828 as well, and I can forward that email to you. As a matter of fact, how about I just share that with you right now? How about I just share that link? You know what? Why don't I just do that? Treated me kind, sweet destiny. All right, here we go. Y'all know I'm a singer in my dreams. All right, this is the link. Don't act like I didn't share nothing with you. That's the link with all the classes on it. Got it? All right. So God bless you. If there's something that you want to text me, tell me how the class went today. I would love your testimonies and your feedback so that I can share it with other people. And looking forward for you to join my class, because like I said, and Anna, I think Anna Maria was on here. Yes, she is. And so she has a little heart and a little emoji. She's so cute. I'm telling you. She was in the class 2 classes ago. And I'm telling you, I'm about to raise these prices because this does not make sense for me to be doing this like this. But I'm taking a 60-day break, 90, whatever. But get it now. All right. So God bless you. I hope this helped you with some mental toughness, right? And of course, in my coaching classes or one-on-one, I do get tough on you, and I'm going to drive you even further. This is just some stuff to get you going right now. But there's always things within your history, always things within your mindset, always things that we have to peel back and uncover. There's patterns and things that we have to unscathe, right? And set up systems to manage those. And that takes more time because everybody's different, right? Everybody's experience is different. So when we do coaching and stuff, we have to dig into that. But right now, so if I'm not the right coach for you, no problem. But at least you can take the information tonight and at least start managing your mind and really start bouncing back. And you hear some books that you can read. One is called Grit. You're going to ask me by who, right? If you hold on real quick, I'll grab it for you. Don't move. I'm not going away. All right. Sorry. Okay, here we go. This book, Angela Duckworth. Got it? Okay. So that's a good book if you like to read, or audio book. One of my friends wrote a really good book. I've listened to it twice already and read it once. The Millionaire Mindset by Johnny Wimbrey. Loved the book. Finished it in 2 days solid. Twice. That's a good book as well on mindset. And when I was really going through some of these transitions, and I just was like, what is happening? What is happening? Then that book was a real builder for me, because it reminded me of things I knew and things I taught and things I didn't know. And it was really infusing me. So those are some books that you can read, and some people you can go follow and find them on Instagram and stuff like that. All right. God bless you. I'm going to say good night unless you have something as any other questions you want to ask. Hey, George. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Let me see who else is on here. Camille was on here. I sent you the link. You all can find the things. Felicia was on here. Hi, Nicole. Yes, learn something new. And just remember that God was patient enough to walk through with Moses. He was patient to walk through with Elijah. He was patient, and he's not going to abandon you because you're having anxiety. But what we're going to do is not make the anxiety have us. And if you do need medication, if that's where the state you are, then get the medication and faith your way off of it, right? No shame, right? Do what you need to do, but you want to make sure I hopefully helped you get some real tools to see that you can do this. All right. So God bless you. Thank you again so much. Tag and share if you can. Normally I do this on Instagram and they take screenshots and pictures, but this is a different platform. So I'm not really sure how they're going to do it. You know me. Stay up on my Instagram and stuff. I'm speaking a lot of different places this year in different countries. So who knows, I may be in your city soon. And some people in Florida were asking me to come and do a worship night thing there. So if you're in the Florida area, I'm really praying about that. So if you're in the Florida area and you think you want to help me with that, or you have a location that I could host it in or something, hook me up so I can come up in there and have a good time. All right. God bless you. And to all a good night. Don't forget that I'm going to send the link one more time for you for the lives. And don't forget 469-278-4828. Cheerios, darling. Until later. See you. I'm going to my bed.